It's the hype chapter. I've heard a lot of people within like the Yozakura fan base hyping up this chapter. I think it was like leaked like a week or so ago. This chapter is going to be 35 pages, and it was thick. It had a really nice cover. I thought the cover looked real clean. I actually don't know what kind of art style this would be. Like what kind of utensils, like I don't know, drawing tools. The mangaka used for that color page because it does look really nice. And I actually really liked the opening page a lot, where it was literally just two panels where like the main family just kind of came in, started attacking Kawashita, just doing their thing, and it was funny because like a lot of the extra pages, it was what I would say is more needed than just making the chapter longer, is just showing like a lot of really cool panels of the like the family grouped up, seeing a lot of their combo moves, and just seeing them perform. And I think that was a very important aspect of just display within this chapter. They mentioned how they can't use their blooming powers, so instead they're going to use just like general team combo attacks. They're all grouped up together, so makes you can see where the gap between having their blooming is covered by just being grouped up. And then like Kyoichiro's there, so like they have their strongest person. They have Futaba, so it's like they also have their number 2 person, and they have them doing combo attacks. So like they're good, they're clean. Like they don't have a whole lot to worry, I would imagine, in this situation, just based off of their sheer cooperative like combination, as well as obviously like where some of them rank in terms of strength, like way more powerful than the other ones. Like you see the move by Kirocho and Futaba, and like he's making like his like ring, not like the one he used against his dad, was it Calm Storm, whatever. I thought that was really cool how it just kind of concentrated down in this like cool, clean looking etched ring. But it's like similar to that, but way bigger. And Futaba's like using, I would guess, her wind power on it. And the way that I would assume this power works, it's like he makes the ring of like maybe like high moving strings, and she like blasts the air through it maybe, and then like the combined movement with like the air blast creates like this big pressurized, or I don't think it's razor wind. It doesn't look like there's any form of bladed effects. It's like a giant concussive air cannon, is at least how I saw it. But he's doing his thing. He's fighting back. Kawashita, his attack hit. It looks like it would have done some damage to Futaba. It just like rips up her dress instead. But she's relatively fine. Kawashita's just looking monstrous. I thought that was one of the cool things too, of like the panel when they're all standing in front of him. It's like he's suddenly a Resident Evil boss. Like he's just become this big grotesque looking monster dude. And it actually looks pretty neat. I like how it's got like the blooming aspect to it. So it's gonna have all these very nice looking flowers all kind of like blooming over his shoulder. But they're doing everything they can. There's a mentioning obviously of like where Taiyo comes into play here. Taiyo's whole hardening ability, they say, is like better for defensive based maneuvers essentially. And among like they set up this whole attack, and in there they shoot Taiyo right through the floor. And in the process, he goes down to where their mother's corpse is, where she's like all set up in this like big cryo person freezer. And there's a bunch of threads that Kawashita has set up. But the difference is, I think they said that these like colored threads are red threads, are like crystallized salmonin, and that they're like spun with their blood. And like just imagining it's like, just think of it almost like roots, or if you want to think of just Kawashita as like a spider, these are all like connected down to it, and he's like keeping like a drain off of it. He's like keeping himself extra powered off of her body with like these red threads. And here we have Taiyo just grab onto him, rip him out. That causes an explosion. But because of his hardening power, he's able to defensively keep himself sound while also take the body with him. I'm guessing that now they're going to want to pull out you know, to get away from this whole setup, because, like, one, they've got you know, the mother's body, so that's one of the big things of this arc. If not, like, I get, like, the whole world-ending thing that was going on. Potentially world-ending if the dude got his whole plan of giving everybody these powers, you know, work. I didn't really think that was gonna happen. Like, there was always the maybe, just in the idea of, like, it'd be a way for the series to set up more people with more powers. But I didn't think it was gonna get to, like, the idea of ending humanity and creating this new world this early in the story, whereas getting their mother's corpse back, it was, like, way more kind of like on the unknown side of things table. Like, we don't know if this is actually gonna, like, finish, if they're gonna get this job done, but it's looking good so far. Like, now they just have to escape. Tayo's got the body, and it's only a matter of a handful of steps before they can at least close that portion out and get the double win. But probably it'll probably set up something more with Kawashita in the future, assuming that he's not done here. I really hope he isn't, just because I like the series having a pretty competent villain, like somebody actually capable that will hold a level of threat longer. Because otherwise, like, the only other bad guy is like their dad, and I think there needs to be more to kind of build, like, a longer scaling set of antagonists for this series. But I mean, that's entirely set on, you know, the hopes that this dude lives. But I mean, you know, there could just be more villains after this. But I think that Kawashita has a unique presence in the series, his connections to, like, the first head. You know, obviously being similar to Tayo in to a degree in his relation to the Yozakura family versus what Tayo's got. So that to me is, like, value enough in him sticking around. But, you know, that's entirely, like, an assumption and something that isn't backed yet in the series. We'll see. I mean, it can happen and be revealed within the next chapter of either him ending his role as, like, a big enemy, or it could show that he's gonna stick around and have, like, a much longer presence within the story. It's funny that, like, this was an extra big chapter. Like, this is 2 chapters of the content, but it wasn't, like, there wasn't a ton to talk about, because, I mean, not like in the same way that, you know, it'd be fun just to, you know, go over, because there was a lot of good action panels. There was a lot of really good combinational pieces between the cast, but in terms of, like, large-scale conversation stuff just to kind of talk about the story, like, this was more of like a big hype chapter. Like, this is, like, what would end, like, the anime season, like, for, you know, got to this point. It would just be really juicing up the content within, like, the fight, and really boosting it a lot for essentially everybody involved, because all the characters that were there got some really cool scenes and just really good moments for you know, for the series. But you know, that's what it was made to be. It wasn't made to be, like, you know, eight more plot lines showed up. So it's good stuff. I was happy about it. Either way, pretty good chapter. I'm really looking forward to seeing how things progress beyond this. Like, again, I want to know what's going on with Kawashita in the rest of the story and what his role is going to be. But other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, but friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.